I don't need a goddamn PhD to tell me how to work with this kid. You've never even seen him.
Tell me one of your stories around failure.
I think my first story of failure came when I was probably about 6 months after having my PhD and sitting in an interdisciplinary team meeting and knowing how behavior functions worked and trying to illustrate that to a number of staff who were twice, maybe 3 times my age, and them looking at me with disgust that I didn't know what I was talking about. And I said, no, it's as simple as this, and we know this, we've known this for 20 years. And having the response from that staff say, I don't need a goddamn PhD to tell me how to work with this kid. You've never even seen him. And I'm working with him every single day. And at that moment, I realized that my PhD wasn't enough to validate my abilities. It was going to be me getting out there and actually showing that person how to do something rather than telling them. That was going to make the difference. So it was a very humbling experience that people didn't think I was as smart as I thought I was, because they were living it and I was just essentially teaching it. I mean, I think that, our science is constantly evolving, and some of the places it's evolving may not be that comfortable for individuals that have been around for a while, that are used to the way that things have been done for decades. And I think that we have a responsibility to continue to move our field forward, to take the data seriously, and to guide the directions that we're moving in based on data and not on history.
So the question then becomes, how do you keep up?
Yeah, I'll tell you how I keep up, and it's, I think, different than what you would expect for somebody who is a researcher first. And that's that I came to the front line to see what you guys were doing and realize that the questions that we were asking were not necessarily the things that you needed fixed. And so, I crept out of that ivory tower, not to because I didn't have any other hobbies, but rather that I started to see this disconnect between the books and what the needs were for the behavior analysts. And so I think what has guided me the most has been hearing from those BCBAs that are struggling with one thing or another, that are saying, I don't have the tools necessary to fix the challenges that I have, and realizing that maybe those are the questions we need to be asking in research. Maybe we shouldn't be pushing somebody's theoretical agenda as much as we should be pushing solutions for the people that need it the most.
Day 3, I was kicking ass as a scientist of the weather. But after a week or 2 weeks went by, 3 weeks went by, after that class, I went back down to baseline levels. And so what you always end up having to do is do maintenance trials and maintenance programs, because you're trying to maintain the memorized repertoire that you created. And when you don't do it, well, we'll bump up maintenance even more. Well, you know what? You're going to reach a capacity there. You're going to reach a capacity about age 4 to 5.